5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
sync.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the TTV podcast, 238, I believe. I'm Mesa.
Yeah, boys.
I'm LJ.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ven.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
And I was completely wrong. It's not 238, it's 237.
Wow.
And
I'm the Exex
okay.
Trooper, which Meso just completely forgot. I exist too.
Wow.
Wow. Why do you gotta
So
do
we're
that?
gonna chalk that up. Episodes without error, 0. Good job.
How's it going, guys?
It's going all right.
It's going.
Pretty good.
Good, nice. Good to hear.
Everyone's
going
going
all right.
so good that is boring.
Anything particularly interesting happening?
So the Switch came out.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
I
big
picked
thing.
it up.
You made the switch. How's it been?
I made the Switch, and I don't regret it.
Nice.
I know that there's been problems that people have been having with it, with launch. Like apparently the left Joy-Con is still desyncing with some people, and then there's scratches. The screens are easily scratchable. It kind of sucks. I don't really care. I've been having a lot of fun with it.
I applaud you.
I stayed up almost a whole night the other night just playing Zelda on there, and I also spent almost the entire time just kind of switching in between the different modes that I could play. Like it, I love it. I love it so much. Had to bring it around with me when I went out yesterday.
Very nice. Well,
Nerd.
how is the transportation functionality? How does it work? You know, like, is it as seamless as they advertised?
Oh yeah.
Pick up and go.
The second you take it out of the holder, or whatever it's called, the mount.
The dock.
The dock, yeah, thank you. The second you take it out of the dock, what you were doing on the screen just pops up just like that. It takes like a split second.
That's crazy.
So it's really impressive. And another thing, I opened up my custom painted mask shop. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, raise the
I
roof.
remember that you had asked us to plug that on BrickFeed, and everyone forgot to. So explain this.
Oh wow, okay. So anyway, basically, I will be doing, I guess, sort of commissions. I'll be accepting requests to paint Bionicle masks and the like. I can do simple repaints, custom designs that take up a whole mask. Like, I don't know. I have plenty of examples in the topic on the message boards, so you can check that out, get an idea of what I can do, and how much I will be selling them for. So, as of right now, as of the time of this recording, I'm actually putting together a list of masks that I have readily available. Whatever masks I don't have available, or I will be making orders for every now and then, so that way you guys can get whatever mask you want. Don't worry, won't make too many exceptions. Unless the mask is like $20 online, like a silver Nuva mask. Those things are ridiculous. So no, so be ready for that. Let me think. Is there anything else? No, that's it. I'm painting masks.
That's awesome.
Can I get a discount?
No.
What about me,
Can I
man?
get my white skull?
Maybe when I'm made of money, then I can give discounts. No, I'm just kidding.
Can I have a discount now?
You can have a discount if you send me the mask that you want me to paint.
Oh, snap. Really?
Yeah, I'll knock like $2 off the final order.
That's so generous of you.
Hopefully that should compensate for
Nice.
whatever.
Compensate for your own
price you
shipping
pay.
to send it.
Yeah. Because
That is something
on
that
one
many
hand, it's
masks-
like, okay, that's cool. I'm not asking anybody to send in their masks, but if they decide to do that, then I feel like I should be a little bit generous.
Modalt Masks does that. They're like, if you send in masks, you get discounts on your order. That's a common practice.
Oh, Beans, you gotta contest with them.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing that, like, I realize this. Modal, he doesn't do straight up recolors.
He does elaborate decals.
He does, elaborate detailing and the carving and stuff. He modifies the masks and transforms into like something completely different. You know, he makes some crazy stuff. I can't really do that, but I will do repaints.
Yeah.
So it's like what we lack in one area, the other person can make up for. So it's
And
kind of
both
fun.
are applicable. Like, for instance, if I wanted a Skull Scorpio mask painted white in areas to look like a Punisher skull, I would go to Modal Masks because he has that mask available, like right now for purchase. But if I wanted just a straight up skull mask in white for my self-mock, I'd come to you. Because I don't use fancy designs.
And
I just use
I
recolors.
can make a couple of designs. I'm in the process of just trying to come up with some. I'm trying to grab a bunch of spare masks that I have as well, so that I can just paint over them and show off what designs I can offer right off the bat. And I'll also be taking, yeah, of course, like the camouflage design or the carnage design that I put up in the topic. And I will actually also take specific design requests. Like the other day I got a request from Elira, actually, and she wanted like a sort of galaxy looking pattern on her request. And it's funny because I got that order, I'm like, oh geez, I hope I can make that happen.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
that's
shut
the
up.
cool part. Like, I will go out of my way to make that design happen. I like to think of myself as pretty ambitious. So if you got a cool idea, don't hesitate to let me know. Just give me a good description. I'll see what I could do, and I'll show you what I have before you finalize your payment.
Very
You can,
nice.
Then can you paint a hollow mask as Pepe the Frog?
Yes,
All right,
I can
I'll-
totally
I'll-
do that.
I'll get back to you on that. All right.
Incredible.
At the time of this recording, I also I haven't exactly figured out international shipping yet, so bear with me.
Nice.
I'm going to, as soon as I
Sure.
find the time to look into it.
Let me help you out with that, Ven. Figuring out international shipping.
It's
It's
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
exactly. And I know it's also going to vary, so that's going to be really tricky to deal with. But it'll come.
There
And
are actually a few
that's,
colors you can't paint in, is that right?
What?
There are a few colors you're unable to paint in right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, as of right now, there are also a couple of colors I haven't exactly figured out yet, like gunmetal, Brutaka gold, dark gold from like Takanuva, the classic purple. Pretty soon I'm gonna be getting lime green, but as of right now, don't have it yet. So,
Can you do
but that is
teal?
another thing I'm willing to do. Is I will actually try to get the paints to match these colors, and I will try my best to match the color of the official Bionicle color palette, or whatever you would really want.
I have a question.
Hello.
So, let's say that I really like the display sets, which I do, and they get dusty, which they do. Can I wash it? Like, how durable is the paint?
The paint, you can wash it. It'll be fine by the time it gets sent to you. Just don't rub it too hard or anything, you know. Like
So, rinse
don't
them,
don't use a sponge on them or anything. So that will not only ruin the quality of the paint, you also risk chipping it and just scratching it completely. Like, no, why would you even want it? Anyway. But anyway, if you need to clean it because it gets dusty, you can run it under some water. It's fine.
Cool. Well, that sounds great, then.
That's
it's
it.
very cool
So-
that you've done this new initiative. I hope it goes over well. I like having something like this on our boards run by us, just for like small scale orders. It's quite cool that you're actually doing this initiative. And it's
Yeah,
something
man,
that I
I've
will
been
get
wanting to do
behind.
this for a while. So it's like the other day I was thinking about it. I was already painting some stuff for this guy, and I was like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and start up the shop right now. And if I need to make any improvements, I will. And I'll try to be as lenient as I can be, while also being fair about my prices. So.
Well, all right. Well, that is very cool. I'm glad that you've done that. What else has been going on this week? Anything at all? Anybody have anything to talk about?
Well, I guess I got a job insanely quickly.
That's
This
really
week.
cool.
Oh yeah, tell that
So-
story a bit.
So, like, the last couple months, I've been, like, waiting on a couple offers about getting a job from, like, people that I know, and they haven't gotten back to me, and finally it's like, you know, I really do need to get one. So I submitted my application, or, like, my resume to someone this week, but then, like, the next day I saw this offer from somebody I know who has a special needs son that's, like, 16, and I had thought about being a caretaker for him before, but he had already somebody filling in the position, so I didn't want to come up and ask them about it, like, hey, you know, put me down for the next time it opens up. But so the position was open. I wasn't ready to go yet. I decided I waited on my laundry to be done, and so I showed up a few hours after the offer was posted, and like within 10 minutes, like this lady was so excited to have me fill in for it that it was like guaranteed me. I was just gonna go in and like, hey, can you consider me for like interviewing me? Like, I thought maybe there'd be like a pool of applicants or something that they'd eventually look over. But then she's like, if you want the job, it's yours. So
that's awesome.
She was pretty hyped. She was like, I'm getting goosebumps from this. So I already start like, so her current caretaker quits like next week, and I'm like shadowing this girl for next week to just see what it's like, and then I get a week break, and then I actually start. So pretty exciting.
That is fantastic. That is great to hear. It means everybody in this call, we in the workforce, guys.
The only problem is the current Brick Fair conflict, so hopefully I'll be able to make it, but they said that they really need me there the same week that Brick Fair would be.
Hopefully everyone else will too.
Yeah, nothing's locked in yet. So. Well, still, that's awesome. That was very great to hear. Congrats on that, man. I mean, Envy. I'm trying to like stop calling you
Mange, Envy, whatever you want to call me.
I'm trying to call you
Who the
Envy
heck
on the
is
podcast.
Mange?
You know, at least.
Yeah,
It's like
cut down
John,
confusion,
Envy.
man.
What if I just made the switch? I go to my first name. I'll just call me Justin right now.
Do it, Justin.
All right, let's
Your
do
name's
it.
Justin?
I'm Justin.
Justin.
Oh shoot, I wasn't supposed to say that.
News just did. Dang
Dang it, I was gonna make that joke.
Well, you can't now.
You're too slow.
You are a significant reason. Okay, not a significant reason, but a reason why I'm not gonna change my online name like Fleffy's done.
Why? Because I just won't do it?
You just won't do it, or you'll
I try,
forget.
man.
Or you'll mix
I
up.
almost
Yeah, alright,
completely
listen,
started calling Fleffy.
Listen, I have to say, trying isn't enough.
Well,
Because after I don't know how long, still haven't made that much of an effort.
I'm like the only
What do
other
you mean,
person in
Connie?
this. I'm like the only other person in this group who calls you John. Just because of that snarky
I've been
remark, I'm going
trying,
back
I've
to
been
Connie.
I call him
Yeah.
John. I call him Little Johnny.
I'm like the only one who actively
nah.
does it.
And that
alternate.
really
I
should
go-
say
No,
something
you're
about
not.
how everyone else does it.
I'm like, hey Kahi, and then the next time, hey John, and then back, hey Kahi. Like, it keeps flipping back and forth for me. I'm working
At
on it.
least I can say I am very consistent.
Dude, same.
Alright. Well, I guess if nothing else interesting happened this week, I suppose nothing much did.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I totally had a story last week for stuff that happened too.
It's been a rather an uneventful week.
No,
To be
not for me.
Speak now.
Well, I'm still in my project of like refurnishing my entire room, and right now, as I'm
AX.
speaking, I am. Hi, man. Right now, I'm sitting here going through all my building instructions that I've ever made, and I'm like cataloging and just sorting them, and it's a trip, you know. Like I've gone through like a lot of the BIONICLE G3 instructions, and it's a blast, you know. It's a fun thing. There's some Exoforce in here as well. There's literally everything. I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised that I have like taken like good care of absolutely all my building instructions through the years.
Very nice. Did you end up buying a bunch of the
GG.
sets that you were looking at on Snapchat? Like, did you buy any
No,
of
that
those?
was there was actually like an old Lego Agents thing that was for half price, like completely half price, and that is like that doesn't happen in Norway. This is not a thing. Like if you see 20% on something, that's a gold mine. That's the best thing that will ever happen to you. But this was an old Lego like Ultra Agent set, and it was like olive green like machine with like big rotor thingies. It's a weird thing.
It's a
I don't-
rotor thing.
Yeah, I don't know
These
how to call it.
rotors.
It's like a double helicopter things. It's olive green, olive
I
green.
know what you're talking about, the hurricane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Live green.
Yeah, but like
Olive
I considered buying it, but it was not something that I ever looked for, ever. So I held on to it for half an hour, and at the end I just did buy it, and it was.
That's fair. Ultra Agents had a lot of cool sets. Like, if the one you're talking about is the one I think you're talking about.
It is the exact one. It's the Hurricane,
the Hurricane
something.
Heist. That was
Yeah.
a cool set. I thought about getting a lot of the Ultra Agents sets, but I could just never bring myself to actually do it. And it was kind of problematic, because they had a lot of cool models for that line. I don't know. Well, that's awesome that you found some cool sets, even if you didn't buy them.
Yeah, and they also had like old collectible minifigure packs for like 100 krones, which translates to for like one collectible minifigures, it was $12 for each one.
Wow.
But it was like a couple.
Dang.
It was like a couple series back, and yeah, someone shout out to Bookle Man in our live studio audience who posted the Live Green set with the rotors, you know, the thing.
Oh, hey,
So
it is
that's-
runners.
It is. Yeah, I was right, you know. I think it's just a color because I really like green, you know. Fist bump
Fair.
to LJ up there, you know. It's just, but
Yeah,
like I could
you
just
know it.
order a bunch of those parts online. And it would just be lower price anyway. So it's just, I don't know. It was an emotional roller coaster, man. It was weird, but it's
So
all
I
in the
saw
past.
this picture on the Bionicle Reddit, not to distract, but I like this
Deliberately to
picture.
distract.
This was a cross post from somewhere from our mildly interesting skull spiders in real life.
Okay, so first of all, you do not need to cut off X for this nonsense.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Second,
done.
where, really?
I love
This
this
is a
thing.
thing?
No.
I was like,
what?
I was like done
Oh my
enough.
gosh.
Are you serious right now? That's
looks
literally
hilarious.
just a spider with some white spots. That's not even
It
close to being a
It
spider.
has
I'd hate
it's
to
got
see
a
the Lord
skull,
of those.
dude. It's got a skull. It looks great.
You're ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
It's got the
okay.
little skull in
waste
the
of
front
time,
with like the
mess up.
eye holes and like the cranium and then the jaw. It's great.
Maybe
This is-
you're seeing what you want to see.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there's a skull
This is like the
there. It's
biggest
just
Barnacle news these days, though. Like,
evidently.
Real life
This
skull spider
just
spotted.
in.
Dude, this just did.
Shut up.
Well, alright. You guys aren't being helpful here. We got interesting topics.
You're not being
Dude.
helpful.
Okay, listen. All right. The last week, so I went to Vars last week, right? We hung out afterwards after the podcast.
the cats didn't kill you.
We actually here's what happened. We actually went to the mall and I gave him a tour of his own mall. Like
What?
the mall with the Lego store in it. So it's like it's not even like the one
You'd
he has
never
any excuse for
explored,
not
like,
going to.
Full mall?
He had literally not he had never explored the full mall. So I was like, he was like, "Where do we eat?" And I'm like, "Well, okay, there's up here. There's 2 Chinese places, and then if you go downstairs, there's actually this Italian place." And then there's like,
That's
and he's like,
rich.
"Which one of these?" He's like, "Well, okay, this one Chinese place has like a seafood kind of so, but there's a ramen thing right next to it, and there's PF Chang's, and it's like it was we were laughing about it because like I was literally giving him a tour of his own place after
I
being there
went
for
to
one
him
day.
with went with him to that mall when I was over at his place. I got to
Okay,
see it first.
sure,
Well,
ex-girlfriend.
that's a funny
I'm no, you know what? I'm really happy for you. I'm so
Me too.
glad that you can pin that onto your refrigerator of crap. Anyway,
I can.
Ouch.
It's there right now. You have
yeah.
been to his
Do-
house,
do us-
evidenced
do
by
us all a favor
your lack
and
of pieces.
Pin yourself.
Sorry to interrupt, but who here
Good luck.
ordered a medium roast? Is everyone alright?
Nice.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
See, it's difficult. Like,
Wow. Good job.
everybody wants to, like, Talking
Dude, I want to
want
to just jump into the freaking discussion, but we freaking can't. Do you want to? Want me to call
just give
again?
some shout outs to like fan art and
All right,
like,
let's go over
essay
some
posts
stuff.
and like
Let's
just
go over
say
some stuff
thanks
that's
for all the contributions.
Yeah. Shout out to a lot of people. A lot of people have been posting stuff related to the elements. Some cool fan art's been coming up recently. I'm going to kind of go over a bunch of the stuff that's just been posted in the last week. So,
Speaking of fan art,
What?
this is a great. I love this meme.
The
It'll be
most
up in the
important
video.
fan art of this week.
All right, carry on.
all right, by and large, the biggest thing that happened this week was the fan art done by Oomatu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm gonna post this
Oomatu.
right here.
Umatu. No.
Oh, Scorpion
Dude.
Strike.
Scorpion
is
Strike
in the
just
live
posted new
audience.
fan art.
He just posted new fan art. I'm going to get to that later because I actually
killing me.
Part of here's the thing about it. Here's the
I
thing about
love this fan art, Scorpion Strike, but we'll get that in a second.
it. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second because we'll go over this theme by Oomatu first. Basically, he did a lot of art about Toa environments and their colors. And the thing that really stood out to me about this one was the environment, how varied and kind of like evocative they were. Purple was saying the same thing. You really like the environments here. Some of the colors, we were debating about some of the colors behind the scenes and like how they actually relate to what we would want in canon. But by and large, really loved this fan art. Really reminiscent of like what Matt Bedecker was
Yeah,
doing.
even if it like gets tweaked or something, color-wise, the fan art is great. Like the designs are on point for
Right.
something. The biggest changes are making Kopaka the Toa of Lightning, which most everybody wasn't for until we saw this fan art, and then we were like, okay, that could be cool. I know, like, we still have some mixed opinions on it, but this fan art helps sway a lot of people to that idea because of how like it keeps the general aesthetic of Kopaka, but it's clear that something's different. Like he still has his mountains, he still has the white, the color scheme, but it's very clearly not Toa of Ice. So I think that was cool. And then Pohatu's still Toa of Stone, which I know some people here.
It's
really
a
hate.
terrible decision.
But
It's a
I
terrible
really
decision,
like how he
and I
keeps,
have
like,
a
the
solid
glowing
argument.
Ice
That's what
and
I'd say.
water is dumber
I like
than
how he
stone and
keeps
earth.
the glowing orange rocks in like
Listen,
the
that's
stone piece.
it is that
Crystal
it is
piece.
absolutely not the case.
That's totally
And I would
true.
make my argument here if certain people had decided to come on today,
Yeah, well.
but instead I have to save it. But I have
Stone
I
for
have
life.
a solid
Stone
argument.
will not die.
Which has also been well we'll get back to that later. All right, so he also did some Rahkshi designs too, based off the Rahkshi that
Dude,
me and Venom been
the
working on.
Rahkshi designs are so.
Yeah.
Look at that.
The Rahkshi designs are solid. They're
I
really
definitely prefer
really
his
good.
Rahkshi designs to his Toa designs.
Rahkshi designs are boss, dude.
The
They are
only
so
thing,
cool.
the only thing I have to say is that the Rahkshi can't turn their heads.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of like having the he wanted to incorporate the spine back into the minifigure, the kind of design
That's
to
pretty
it.
much what I was going for with my design too. So it
Right,
kind of
yeah.
makes sense.
You did the same thing too. So even like all things said and done, I still really like all these designs. I feel like they're very they're a good way
Yeah,
to
these are
incorporate what we're
really
talking
nice.
about.
I
I
like
bemoan the
I like
fact
the
that-
aesthetic that he gives them. I think that's my favorite part about
Yeah.
it. And like the tribal design mixed with the sort of what is this biomechanical. He's pulling off the biomechanical thing really well.
I
Yeah.
bemoan the fact
Definitely.
that Gurok has no face and tentacles, which
Rip
makes him no
Cthulhu.
longer Cthulhu.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
the only
looks
thing that I
cool.
would change, honestly. Like he was talking about how he didn't know if they'd be able to do a different print for each one of the Rahkshi, which is fair. But that being said, I would really like to see like a bit of customization on there. I do think the tribal prints or the tribal not prints, the little designs on the faces
Tribal
are enough
markings.
the markings are enough to separate them and kind of make them unique. But even still,
Without
like to-
doubt, my favorite of the bunch is the mighty Panrak, the ultimate hodgepodge throw together looking guy with his spindly legs and his like bat claws coming off the back and that tail. He just looks hilarious.
How would those back claws even work?
They probably work similarly to how the Nexo Knights ultimate figures, where
Oh,
they
that's
have
true.
like a little backpack and then they have something like branching off. Because
That's
insight
just a
times
lot of
4,
stuff to
by
tack
the way.
on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, it totally is. It's like he's built like a Chima figure, but with like a mixel jointed tail and like Nexo Knight's backpacks with arms. It's pretty ridiculous. I love it so.
He's ambitious, you know.
He's got plans, and again,
Man.
Are you allergic to concept art?
I'm allergic to conceptual.
Dude,
pets,
my
I
allergies
guess.
have been acting up
Allergy.
too. Like I've been having coughing fits, and my nose has been runny, and I hate
Yeah,
it.
allergies
Hate
have
it
been
so
kind of killing
bad.
me. I think they're
Well, I
like
mean, the first day of
ambitious
spring's
as
on the
fuck.
20th of this month.
they really
I know,
really,
I
spring's
hate
already
spring,
almost
dude.
here. Oh, I hate spring so much.
Spring is the worst season for me.
Spring and
Interesting.
summer, but I guess more so summer. It's basically just like that period of the year I have to slog through to get to the part I enjoy. You know, it's like
Spring is the best part of the year, man. It's actually being warm out now. That's great. You can go hiking.
bleh.
You can go
So,
swimming.
I really like the
I-
animated
great
I
stuff.
I can't enjoy the warmer weather when I'm having a sneezing and coughing fit every 5 seconds.
That is
funny,
fair.
I don't have
I'll feel
allergies at all.
Congrats.
because you stay inside.
Lucky
all the
you.
time.
Same.
You know what? Pin that onto your refrigerator of crap. Just kidding.
Jeez. I'm sorry. I
But,
was
LJ, you
going to
have,
buy
like,
from you,
allergies come
but
from
evidently
natural
the
things
customer
outside.
service is horrible.
So
Yeah, get out of here. We don't serve losers. No.
Okay,
Loser.
for everyone that just heard that, don't go to this guy's shop. Come to LJ Recolor Emporium. We give you recolors for free colors. I was going somewhere with that.
What?
oh my god,
Recolor
that was.
free colors.
You could see that, like it's almost like seeing a train wreck. You could see it like halfway through.
I
He's
can
like,
visualize the
he was
mental
like,
image of
I
him.
was hoping someone would interrupt me by now, so that I could just.
LGEXC
away with
has
it.
stopped
Although,
working.
speaking of colors and train wrecks, regarding his Toa concepts, I really hate pretty much all of these colors.
Whoa.
Like, trust me, they're very well drawn. He's an
Hate
outstanding
is a strong
concept artist.
word.
Yeah, I would not say hate.
I mean, listen, I'm not speaking for you, but I think Anua's great. I think Tahu's great. I don't like Kopaka. I don't like Liwa. It's Liwa, chump, and I don't like Gali. In fact,
Dude,
Gali
I
is my
like
least
Gali.
favorite.
He's got green, you know?
All
Lime
right.
green. It's cool.
The VAR has arisen, so let's sink him in.
Time.
The Vark Knight rises.
Are you with us? All right.
Wow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sing.
Sing.
Sink.
All right, welcome VAR to the show.
I'm starting to
Welcome,
question your ability to view color, LJ.
Yeah.
I'm going to question your ability to be on time.
Oh,
Where are you at? Where are you
Both
at?
true statements that don't invalidate each other, so it's not like it was actually a.
Yeah, no, I feel like the colors are represented really well in all these pictures, and
They're
I don't know.
I don't
think,
like-
I think the color schemes are pretty good. In fact, they convinced me for Lightning Kopaka. I was not for that. I was not for that at all until I saw it. And
mean-
I'm like, well, that actually does look pretty good.
I like certain aspects, but the thing is, there are just too many colors. Like for Gali, for instance, she's got 2 shades of blue, or actually 3 shades if you count the transparent, then the red/magenta, then whatever kind of a beige is on her arms, and then green.
It doesn't work. Golly is the only one I will outright say like that design would not work. One of those colors has to go.
I
I'd
actually
say
would
I don't-
say
two of
that.
those
I don't
those
necessarily
colors have to go.
think it's the colors per se, though.
Yeah.
I will agree that Gollies could probably use one less color. However, I do feel like the designs themselves are quite busy. When I initially saw these, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all for the tribal like aesthetic here, but it might have taken it a bit too far in some instances, especially with Gollies. There's a bit too much going on with their
wavy.
design.
Well, it's because he tried to incorporate the swirly aspects to like emulate water in it, and I feel like that it is a bit too busy when conflicted with the angular
Well, my thing is
parts
the
of
my thing is the green
Yeah.
parts there. I think either keep the green or keep the pink, either one, but get rid of one or the other. Both of them sort of conflict with the design and add a bit too much elements going on to the thing here.
Yeah.
So it ends up looking kind of muddy visually.
I think with the pink, it's the distribution.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think
I feel like if it might have been
actually
like if it was
alright.
been distributed.
No,
a
I
little-
think it's just the design. I think
Yeah.
the colors are fine. It's just there's too much going on. Either cut one or the other
Yeah.
out. I would also get rid of the brown shoulder
yeah, the
pads
brown-
too. You don't necessarily need that either, unless you want to make it look more like it's cloth or something. Something that it's more like clothing, an article of clothing. Then it might work. Here
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't
here
quite work.
it doesn't translate well.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
I'm
if
basically
I were in
sold.
charge of doing coloration, I'd have only 3 colors per Toa.
Personally,
I feel like that's a bit limiting, a limitation that you don't necessarily need to abide by because we're working with minifigure scale now and not trying to replicate everything through CCBS. I feel like you can get away with a lot of colors, but it just depends on how you actually implement them.
Right.
Personally, I disagree. I think it's actually more necessary to limit the colors because
on.
they're minifigures. Because with too many colors, it can get very cluttered, very ugly looking very quickly. For
that's
instance,
true, but
the latest Aaron minifigure from Next and Nights.
You're right.
has a lot
It
of
could be,
colors.
but that doesn't mean we shouldn't. Just because it could be bad.
I feel like if you're not doing it properly, yes, but with the minifigure scale, you have a lot more freedom to actually represent what you're trying to implement on your figure.
in
easily.
minute detail, basically.
Yeah. I don't think it works for Golly as much. Golly is my least favorite of these, but I really, really, really like
I
it.
like
Guys,
all
my
the rest.
favorite. Never give up concept
the one.
artist.
If I had to say my
I'm
least
basically
favorite,
completely. Oh, don't say it.
okay, it's Leela.
Oh, okay.
The Leela design. I like the Leela design, the white and the green. I just don't like the
Purple?
shade of purple or pink
Yeah.
or magenta.
I like
guess,
Lewa
on it.
because it's fresh.
It is fresh and it's new.
I do think it is strange that the mask not being green makes him look the most unrecognizable out of the bunch.
I don't think
actually-
it's the mask
I
not being
actually
green.
like
I think it's just because the mask isn't a very good representation of a Miru.
Yeah, I think
got,
it just doesn't
like,
look
3
like
mouths.
Miru. Honestly, when I saw, because the reason I didn't make Leo's mask a different color was because I feared it would be too unrecognizable when I made my concepts. So that's why I try to stick with the some kind of green shade here. Honestly, though, after seeing someone that actually did do it, where the color is a different color, I actually feel like my fears are a bit misguided. I feel like the other color for the mask actually works quite well. I think here it's just the Miru isn't really a very good Miru, more so than the color makes it unrecognizable.
Yeah, this is an issue I have with a lot of these concepts, but Lewa fairly well exemplifies it. He's too dark. I don't like this shade. It just looks very...
Well, it's like it's no real shade of green that exists, or like even the white.
Yeah, but
it's because of the
just
pin color.
too dark, and it conflicts too much with what looks to be silver. I know it's white, but it looks very silverish. And
What
yeah, I
if
don't
Lewa
like the
had
purple.
olive green? Everybody hate that because that's basically what that color is.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'd
love
hate-
olive green. I think that
I
would
don't-
look
I don't
amazing.
mind
I'd have to
olive
see
green.
how it looks, but I wouldn't be opposed. Olive green and white. That's
I
not-
feel like olive green's a bit too earthy of a color.
Yeah, I agree. I
You-
think
that
that'd
might be
better off
seen
on
on
Lewa.
Lewa.
Like
Maybe I do
earthy.
Yeah.
Earthy.
It's supposed to be the toe of air.
Yes, this
Yeah?
is the toe of air.
So why? But why? If it's air, why is it green in the first place?
Exactly.
Well, that was
That was the
part of
point.
why we were changing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the suggestions for the environment of the toe of air would be floating islands, in which case I could actually kind of see the green aesthetic working pretty well.
Floating islands could be cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like he does a good job of differentiating the two types of green between air and earth. That it's not too conflicting for me. In fact, I feel like his earth one is the best out of all.
I
of these.
love
it's
this
absolutely
Onua
my
concept.
favorite.
I love Onua so much.
Yeah, Onua is the best.
Onua is, I think, essentially exactly how I'd like him, except for maybe the printing on the knees, like the little tribal thing on the knees. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Everything else is almost solid. Just what
This
I
guy
wanted
kind of
out his.
subverts what I was going for with my concept, where I made the mask colors the secondary color scheme for the overall figure, whereas he seems to be going for the mask color being the primary, which is fine. It's
That's
just a
the
different
usual.
take.
Yeah.
We have to see
So
what
I
concept
believe
we're
what
on it,
he's
yeah.
going for here is white is Lewa's primary, with green being the secondary, possibly. But I mean, there is more green on that figure, so I don't know.
Generally, as it is, the primary tends to be the color that's used more, so it'd be green in this instance. 'Cause
Right.
There's a lot less white. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
Lewa is the one that follows that trend.
Fair enough.
I
like
actually, I like them. I mean, the rest of them, we only talk about, on this podcast, we talk about the stuff we don't like way more than we talk about the stuff we like. I can't express enough how much I like the rest of these designs.
I could gush about Pohatu for a good while, but I'd probably be alone because nobody else really likes Pohatu.
I like the design of Pohatu quite enough.
Pohatu looks
do
good.
like
It's just more of the same.
Yeah,
That's my problem with it. And I mean, we already established we're not a big fan of the current Pohatu, so.
I know. I'm fine with Pohatu.
Yeah, same.
I also really like Tahu.
not a
I
fan
was
of
initially thrown by the blue, but because I was confused by it on United
I
Tahu
have
as well.
fully embraced
But it
the
looks
blue.
fun.
Yeah,
It's cool.
I think I think the blue helps with the very very bright fire at its core. It's blue, it goes blue and then kind of red,
Yeah.
orange, yellow at the
Yeah.
outside. So
And it just looks great. It complements the red color scheme so well.
right, and because it's not overdone.
Yeah.
Both in
And
this
it's,
one
it's,
and the Tahu
it's this
concept.
specific
I'm not a big
shade
fan
of
of that
blue,
blue.
too.
Not a fan of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm
same
not a
here.
fan of
I
you,
don't-
so it's okay. I'm just kidding.
I don't really like the blue. I wasn't the
Yeah,
biggest
I
fan
actually
of it
do
on
not think
Uniter.
it complements it very well, to be honest.
If you're gonna introduce the blue, introduce it either at a later time or with less shades of orange and red.
Fair enough. I'm not opposed to introducing the blue at a later time. I do think the first Tahu concept that we got, and I'm trying to right now to figure out find the username of the guy who did it. So give me 1 second. But the one we talked about a couple weeks ago, that Tahu I felt was very very well done.
I didn't like the
And-
blue there either.
I felt the blue there was
I thought the blue was fine.
was fine in that one.
So,
I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I thought it was like gray. I didn't immediately recognize that it was blue. I thought it was supposed to be like the gears and the metallic, kind of bluish gray color. This is more of like a vibrant blue that's clearly supposed to be like a contrast.
This blue does not feel very vibrant at all. It's more of a duller blue.
Yeah.
Regarding that original,
It's a very
Tahu concept.
desaturated version of blue. It's a
There it
darker,
is.
unsaturated blue.
Nice.
Yeah, Ragdoll was a user who created that on our boards.
Good guy,
so
Ragdoll.
This is more of a purple than a blue.
Sure, that's all right.
I guess.
The purple works a bit better, but it's also
I agree.
it's analogous to the red, so that's probably why it works better. Whereas blue is not really analogous or
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah,
I feel what you're
this
saying.
complimentary.
Okay, sure.
This
It
might,
might
be
be
my
a
monitor,
tertiary.
but this might be my monitor, but still, when I look at the Ragdoll Tahu, I see gray. I see
mean,
like
It's
G1
very
gear gray.
it's very grayish in the upper right pose of him, but on the bottom left and the color palette he used at
Yeah.
the bottom, it's pretty clearly a purple.
He has a little he actually has the palette down there, and it's purple.
I do see the palette. Well,
Yeah. It's a good concept. I don't know. I don't really like the use of the blue here in this current Tahu. It looks okay for what it's going for, but personally, I would just take it out.
Ditto.
I don't think it really does anything to help out the design.
I'm not opposed to bringing it back for his upgrade. If we are
Yeah, me neither.
Because
I like it.
I kind of do like the concept of it. It still confused me a little when Lego did it because it was out of nowhere. But I like following up on the evolution in a sense, but maybe not immediately. What do we
Right.
make of Kopaka's red? Because on the one hand, I don't know why it's there, but on the other hand, I kind of like it.
I
really
like the
don't like
contrast. I like the contrast it brings to the character. I feel like for a character that's otherwise boring, kind of this very cool, muted shade of blue and white. It's it's a different. It brings this kind of element to it that I feel.
I don't like
kinda
it with
grounds
the
it.
yellow.
I wouldn't.
because
Yeah. All right. I'll
it's
give you
too
that.
many
I don't really
colors.
like it with the yellow.
I'd rather he
I
just
mean-
cut it down to white, blue, and yellow.
I just hate that.
I think that works.
It's like the side effect of making a lightning character. You got to deal with that putrid shade of trans neon yellow or whatever.
Well, imagine if he
It doesn't
wasn't
work
lightning.
with many colors.
Imagine if he wasn't lightning in a different.
To
element,
me,
then you
it doesn't
could
really
get rid of it.
read as a red. It reads more as a darker orange,
Like a
kind of
brown,
dirty
yeah.
orange.
Yeah, brownish.
Yeah, brownish.
Burn orange.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I actually wanted.
Which is complementary to the blue, so it actually does kind of work for me.
I guess
I
it
did-
was reddish brown, maybe.
It doesn't look like that to me at all. It just looks like dark red.
I threw around
Yeah,
the
I don't
concept
see the red.
beforehand of Kopaka having this kind of a minifigure fur coat kind of deal. So to me, that this thing emulates that without necessarily having that.
Yeah, it looks like a color scheme I would actually find on some kind of tribal mask or something.
Right.
Yeah, I think it works a lot for me. It adds a lot of more interest to his color scheme, because otherwise just white and blue is really boring, and the yellow doesn't do much to make it not more boring.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like the darker orange here does a lot to sort of subvert expectation and give it a bit more visual interest without muddying it up too much like it does for Golly. Maybe if I think once again I feel like it's more of the usage of like the actual pattern that he's doing. I feel like the pattern itself is just a bit too sporadic and random. There's not enough thought put into it.
Well, if you look at you look at how his chest armor is done. At one part has some lines going down his chest. The other
other part has
not.
the dots.
Yeah,
Right.
the dots and stuff. And so that's what I totally agree with.
I mean, it's like G2's printing, you know? It's just scribbles and lines.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but
I feel like I
think
think
that was a bad
I feel like
thing
there
about
might be a
G2.
bit more thought put into this one than G2's personally, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But it still doesn't quite work. I think he needs to be a bit more I don't know.
almost like a more minimalistic
Careful.
approach to the
Yeah, a little bit
tribal
more
patterns.
minimalistic with the tribal patterns.
I would say that going back to Golly, the green works on her more than the if you had to get rid of the pink, I would say okay, sure, but I'd
Keep the
rather
green,
keep the green
because that already has pre-existing implementation, because there's algae and plant
right,
life
exactly,
underwater,
and
you know?
there's also
That's what Hollywood is
it's
all
it's another color that complements her color scheme while also subverting expectations a bit and still working well, and I feel the same with Kopaka with the
Totally.
red give it to him too as well.
the green.
Alright.
Someone did point out in the chat, Buchelman, live studio audience, become a patron to join in. That Kobaka looks like the color of the Raid Zeppelin Ninjago balloon, which I can totally see. It's not the dark
I don't
red,
see
it's
that.
like the burnt brownish kind of orange.
Yeah, it's like a darker orange
Okay.
brown.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I was seeing
But
too.
it's difficult to tell because these are drawings, you know. It's like,
I
Alright.
see dark
I mean,
red, but
Yeah,
It's not that difficult. You can put it up in Photoshop and do color picker. It's clearly a darker orange brown. It's pretty much the exact same color there. I don't know. I think it works pretty well. I just think he needs to be a bit more minimalistic with the pattern, and I think it could work well. Personally, I do really like the yellow added here. I know, Alger, you're not a big fan of it, but I personally like it a lot.
No,
I think,
it's the yellow I like. It's the red, dark
yeah, it's
orange
me
I
that
don't.
hates the yellow. I hate
okay.
the color on principle, but I also want Kopaka to be a Toa of Lightning. I just don't think it's a complementary color with much in Lego's palette. It does work with this one because it's gone next to the blue, which I guess could look cool, vibrant lightning. You know, it gets that look across.
It's a bit more forgiving in this instance, I feel, simply because it's meant to represent the color of the element itself.
Truth.
I feel like that helps make it easier for me to read, more so than any of the other Toa, because really the other Toas, their highlight color isn't really anything special. It's more just complementary colors or different analogous colors for what they're currently using. Whereas this one's not. This is very clearly meant to represent the element itself. It's a bit of an anomaly versus all the other ones, but I think it works well here.
Vin's done color picker red confirmed for
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's orange. It's definitely it's not necessarily red right yet. It's in that
It's in the reddish shade.
It's yeah, sure. It's also in the orange shade.
It's in the orange shade for me.
yeah.
what?
Yeah, I did color picker too. Here, I'll push it for you. It's very clearly on the orange pattern.
The great
Messa,
color
we need
war.
to stand out of this one. We only deal with
Yeah,
blue.
our specialty is blue, not orange. I can't comment on orange.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow, I don't have push installed for some reason.
Nice.
Congrats.
Oh, you have to print screen it.
Yeah, I gotta print screen it the old-fashioned way.
Oh boy.
You can still
Like a
copy and
nub.
paste that.
Oh man. Well,
So let's talk about Scorpion Strike real quick.
he's done a massive elemental essay.
Yes, and also I want to if you could post your fan art again because I don't know how many of all of us were able to see that the last time. You posted a bit of Lilo beforehand, and I don't know if he's done any other things, but really, so yeah. I really like this style.
He just needs the cape to tie it together.
Ooh,
but I love
that's a
how
really
that
nice style.
See,
Now
this
he did
I like
something
this.
that a lot of people will find a little controversial. He wants to include pink in the Leeway color scheme.
a lot seem to.
Okay, now we have a problem. I was with you until that.
That seems to be a recurring trend.
Well, I mean, if you look at the minifigure, it actually does have a shade of pink. Obviously, it's not like bright pink or anything. It's like a
I
pale.
like the style.
kind of-
I don't think I like the pale pink.
No, I don't.
I have a legitimate question here. Why? I'm not even against it. Why is pink the go-to color for air? Does that have like any connotation, or is it just a contrast?
It does.
Color?
In the essay, he notes that pink is essentially used for like I don't know, it was World War II. It was for fighter planes to everyone to blend into the sky more. Actually, the sky has a distinct pink actually blends in with the wind and the air a lot more than you think it does. It looks odd when you have it on the ground, but in the sky is actually kind of like a
That makes
camouflage.
sense.
So
That does make sense.
So yeah, I mean, like the
Wait,
thing
I like
is that
the
the
idea.
reasoning behind it makes sense to me. The
Yeah,
reasoning behind
but-
it is solid. The problem is that I just don't like how it looks.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we
like
were
when I think pink, because the logic's sound, but when I think pink, I don't think air. I think cherry tree blossom.
that's the problem. The thing is that when you say pink is as air, you have to explain it, and if you have to explain it, then you're losing the element of a color scheme, which is you have to visually recognize what it's supposed to be.
I mean,
straight
to
out.
be fair, we asked that in G1 with the Leave Oomatu, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
I mean,
Yeah,
and
no reason
we all
being green.
can probably agree that green as air was not the best choice.
That's why we were trying to change it.
I will also
Right.
agree that it's not like the paramount of problems.
Yeah, at
you
least
know,
this
like,
time
people
we
accept
would
it
have an
and it works.
explanation.
right. That is
Yeah,
true.
it's like out of all the problems in G1, like we're spending a lot of time on elements. It's on the minor end of the problems. People accept the elements for what they are. People are like, okay, cool, I can get
So-
behind it.
Okay, can we jump into an element discussion? Can I preface it with like what we're basically the thing we're gonna get into? All right. So, long story short, out of all the added elements that we were kind of considering, lightning has been the one that most of us have agreed. All right, we can make this one an element. Most of us are okay with that as being accepted. And now the discussion is right now: with lightning, are we going to replace ice? Are we going to replace stone? We did come to a decision kind of over the week since the last podcast aired that we're mostly okay with having the 6 Toa, so we're not going to eliminate Toa like we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
But
It's
which one
basically
should be
like
replaced?
lightning works as an element, and there are two choices. So,
All right.
yeah.
So I am going to and Scorpion Strike again. He did this very very good in-depth look at the elements. Actually brought up a lot of points, and it was actually a great case or evidence for me to kind of propose. Well, I think ice should be kept and stone discarded, and why ice is more distinct as a thing from water than stone is from earth. But okay, so. Here's the basic process of it. He proposes that there are 2 types of elements. There's these things called material elements, and then there's process elements. So, let me give you guys an example, right? If Gali and Tahu combined their attacks, they would make either just direct steam, or if Tahu was to fire up like a pool, like a lake, right? He could make it boil. Because if you directed his elemental power fire into this lake, it would kind of make that water boil. Gali can't do that. So in essence, he's proposing that Gali's power, she can manipulate all things related to water, and kind of at any temperature that they're at, but she can only create water at her own body temperature. She cannot manipulate the temperature of water. So if you think about fire itself isn't really an element. Fire is a chemical reaction,
Chemical
a sense.
reaction, yeah.
Right, but you never see whenever you see fire, it's always burning something. It's not just coming out of nowhere. If you see it at a campfire, it's burning wood. If you have like a little lighter, it's burning the chemical inside the lighter. And he was saying that if Taku threw air, or not air, if he threw like oil at someone, he could light the oil on fire, but he couldn't control the oil. He can only kind of control the flame. So in essence, fire and ice are they're more accurately referred to as heat and cold. And fire in itself, fire can increase the temperature of something, and ice decreases the temperature of something. And so in that sense, fire and ice, if they're both equally valid as elements. If fire's there, ice also has to be there. And Gali, in the same way that Gali wouldn't be able to turn a lake boiling, and manipulate that temperature, because we would see that outside of her elemental purview. I would say, at least, I wouldn't say that Gali could make water hot, but at the same time, could she make water cold? Could she lower the temperature of water? I don't think that's inside her purview either. She's able to do one, or the other. I feel like she can do enough by. I mean, and what you say is like Kopaka could freeze anything, not just water. Right, he lowers the temperature of anything, so he could create icicles using the moisture in the air and throw them at something. But he couldn't. Golly could also manipulate the icicles because they're made out of water. But she can't create ice. She can't manipulate the temperature of the element that she's using. The same way that with Tahu as well. You know, Tahu can manipulate the temperature higher, and Kopaka manipulates the temperature lower, essentially. So
Okay.
ice is valid as an element because fire is considered an element.
But is it valid enough? That's the question.
Yes, I mean it's
Is
as valid
anything
as
really
fire.
valid enough for?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by valid
Really?
enough? It's as valid. It's equally as valid as fire because they're just.
I mean, you can
manipulating
make that
temperatures.
argument for like why it is technically distinct, but is it distinct enough to warrant being chosen over other elements?
I 100% believe so, and I feel like in like looking back at like other characters in fictional history, that also agrees with me. I think ice by itself, visually and as a power set, is distinct enough that you can make entire character based around that. And there have been many characters around that in the past. Just off the top of my head, you know, you're thinking of like Frozone, you're thinking of like Iceman from the X-Men, you know, Mr. Freeze. Just like all these, there's a lot of ice-based characters in fiction because the concept of cooling, the concept of ice, is a very visually distinct power that can be used in all sorts of different power sets. Which is why I think we should keep ice and replace stone with lightning. And lightning also will tie into Pohatu's use of speed and, you know, his mask powers and his abilities in that sense.
I'm not opposed, but here's a question.
Go for it.
For Kopaka, we have a lightning landscape already established in that concept art.
Right.
And it works cool. What the heck would Pohatu's be?
I did a little bit of concept art. I have to take a photo of it before. But the way I described it beforehand, it would kind of be like, if you remember, I'll give you a combination of two images here. All right, so Cardanui. You remember what Cardanui looks like? Cardanui is kind of like this this mountain that's kind of expands outwards. It's smaller in the center and the lower down it is, and it kind of grows out like that, right? So it's kind of like this stone thing, and that would be combined with. So like imagine that, but the atmosphere around it is very stormy, like this. So
Okay.
so that is, so you combine those two things together. In the middle, you have this kind of island, kind of like a T. You know, when you put a golf ball on. You know, it's like it's kind of narrow in the
Purple
center
made
and
a
it kind
concept for
of
that.
goes
Let me
up.
go ahead and dig that up real quick.
Sure. And then on the around it, swirling around it, is this giant mass of like kind of purplish storm. Also, I mean, I was talking about purple being a color for lightning, and I feel like the images that I have kind of describe that a bit more. But there'd kind of be like this endless lightning storm kind of going around the island, and that's what it would look like. And around it would kind of be like a crater.
This would essentially replace the desert entirely, right?
Yes, essentially is would approach the desert entirely. I mean, the desert could be around it, leading up to it. You know, like that
It
environment.
could be, but it wouldn't
this
be a part of the
yeah.
environment, really.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Obviously,
like-
his color scheme is not going to convey a desert.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm still like you made an impassioned case for ice because of Scorpion Strike's essay, but Scorpion Strike's essay also makes an equally impassioned case for stone.
I feel like the case for stone is actually less. Have you actually read it?
I have. He paints a very in-depth picture of the kind of stuff you can do with stone and crystals and all that, which is basically what I was getting at. The
Right,
other
but
day. Very
as-
hands-on.
But what I'm saying
Very,
is that
like,
necessarily
hard-hitting.
ice and fire. If you say that ice is not valid, fire is equally.
Basically,
invalid.
I feel there's
Like,
more
admit it.
interesting combat and stuff you could do with stone than ice. Ice basically just tantamount freeze everything, slow everything, encase people in like a block of ice. You know,
I mean-
like skate around.
Yeah, what is
It's all
rock?
done
to death.
Yeah, it's,
If anything, I feel like ice is basically just stone except white.
yeah.
When I'm thinking of all the combat scenarios, it seems like it'd be basically the same thing, except ice has the added ability of being able to freeze people.
Oh.
And also, I mean, like in the concept we had for Biocraft, I can we're kind of choreographing the fight stuff in there. I was saying that Kopaka could do things like lunges, for example, and kind of stretch it out with the ice, and kind of, you know, his move, his fighting style would be a lot more graceful and kind of fencing, while also with the added maneuvering of being able to kind of like skate around. So imagine like a very skilled fencer who's also a very skilled ice skater, kind of like able to create ice around his opponent and kind of slashing at him like that.
I'm still big on the crystal idea.
I know you
I'll
are.
read this out.
I don't.
I'll read this section out. Besides amorphous rocks and sand, the element of stone also covers pure crystals, which can be used to provide a power set all of their own. The unique properties here revolve around the near-perfect lattice structure that crystals and gemstones can display, which allows them to keep extremely sharp points and edges that make them very dangerous against foes that have some softer parts exposed. In using crystals, creativity is key. Just throwing a bunch of sharp crystals at a foe is sure to have some effect, but an imaginative Toa of stone could also deploy them in battlefield control by creating a bunch of them on the ground with sharp points pointing upwards, producing something analogous to a field strewn with caltrops. Since the physical and elemental aspects of a Toa of stone's battle style are never going to be far apart due to the expense of manipulating stone through raw elemental power alone, a Toa of stone could also coat their blunt, heavy impact weapon in sharp crystals to concentrate the force it applies on the target on a very few small points, maximizing the damage there. Imagine, for example, if Pohatu stuck spikes on his foot extensions. Suddenly his kicks don't just do damage by impact, the sharp point to these hard, if brittle crystals could pierce armor too. Chances are that crystals are going to be very hard for a Toa of stone to get a hold of. However, crystals being much more intricate than the most commonly created amorphous rocks and sand, are also much more difficult to create on any kind of a scale, and a Toa of stone that can quickly create crystals on the fly is therefore likely to be one that has established pretty tight control over their element, aka, this is my part now, kind of what we were thinking about upgrades. It would start off being very stone and sand heavy, and then gain the power of crystal for visual diversity, which I feel is key. When we're thinking of all this, there's like 3 things that have to be kept in mind. It's about how the character looks, what the character's area looks like, and how they fight. And I feel like no matter what you may think of stone, whether it's like deserving of being a full element or whatever, it would look very cool. It has a very distinct visual
Everything that you just
identity.
described that Pohatu can do, that Kopaka could do with ice.
But
Plus
it
the added
doesn't work
element
as
of-
well because you make. But that's where the lattice shapes come into form.
Which he
Like,
could
it's
also
basic.
replicate with ice.
Are you seriously gonna tell me that like ice is like as hard as a diamond? Because I'm curious how you could pull that off.
I mean,
I'm not saying that.
yeah, we're not
I'm
saying it's
saying
hard.
visually, there's no difference.
A block of ice in the shape of a rock will have around the same effect as a rock visually. Well, I can say it.
I read the crystal portion because that's the newest, biggest like spin on the character. I think you could get by like perfectly with just sand. I've already made the case for sand in the past. Like there's a lot of clever stuff you can do with that. Other media has shown very in-depth things you can do with sand. Ice has like zero appeal to me, basically.
With
So like
sand,
out of all
rocks
these,
have
Ice has
zero appeal.
Ice has zero appeal to me as well. However, that segment kind of just turned me over towards ice a bit more.
Incredible. Well, fine.
Wow.
Yeah, if
no
anything,
hope.
that just solidified even more reason for not to go with stone to me.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't see it honestly.
Ice is starting to
give up.
sound
I'm
nice.
thinking of as well Pohatu, like if he could visually, his style could kind of be. You guys remember Mercury from Ruby, right? And how he was able to use kicks. He also kind of like was able to shoot like an energy blast or like some thing from his feet as he was doing it. He had like gun boots. So essentially, Pohatu's fighting style and kind of visual style would be around the same thing. Eventually, like kind of being able to use it to rocket off things, to be able to jump and run around, do all that kind of stuff. As a lightning, that would be something unique to him. That like for instance, like that couldn't be replicated with Jade from Ninjago, couldn't be replicated with something else. I feel like if we were able to, we could have a visually distinct Pohatu and a visually kind of distinct Kopaka in that sense, as
Sure.
opposed to. Well, okay, let's also talk about this in general too. Sounds so depressed, Meso. Your impassioned case just didn't hold up. Sorry, bruh.
Or you're just too stubbornly against it.
You've
You've been like from word go.
I'm against World Girl
Welcome
because
to TTV.
nothing has proven to me that stone can stand by itself on an element and be visually distinctive the way that you're saying it. You keep saying it is, but I don't see it. And if anything, what we just read...
I mean, the only visual distinction I would see between that and ice would be that this would be purple. I'm assuming,
Right.
which we could also retain the purple color scheme if we make him lightning. So it doesn't really change
Between
anything.
stone, sand, and crystals, stone is one of the most diverse. as far as stuff you can do.
Yeah, but it's diverse in the fact that it can replicate things that everybody else can do.
It's like the
It's just
Orisa
all in one
of
package
elements.
instead.
It's the Orisa of elements, essentially.
Yeah.
And Orisa works fine.
I
Riddle me
actually
this:
who
are we
Orisa
ever
is.
gonna have Onua like
wait,
levitate
Overwatch.
like a big chunk of like solid earth? Is that a thing he's ever gonna be able to do, or are we gonna keep him to soil and like?
Well,
I mean, I would
it
say
depends on the
limited to
upgrades
soil.
too, but
I was gonna inhabit.
Yeah, he could upgrade to that.
he could upgrade
Because-
to it, but that was not part of my initial.
Because that's the kind of stuff
Idea.
Pahatu does, like solid, hard-hitting rocks,
So just
earthquakes,
so
stuff
telekinesis, essentially. I don't know.
Like that. I mean, all the characters can like levitate stuff. It doesn't mean they have telekinesis. It's just
right.
control
I'm
over
just
their
like,
elements.
I don't know. I'm very much not seeing it.
Wait. Can they? Who else does it?
Golly.
Does she levitate water, or does she just cause like big waves?
Does
I
she
don't.
generate
I don't
water?
recall
She
her
can-
ever.
I mean, like,
there's not like there's just floating water usually, is there?
to be
Usually it's connected to the ground.
that's fair actually.
That's fair. I
when
would
I'm
imagine I guess
thinking-
you could like create.
I
it
would.
on the
I mean,
fly.
I would say that if we were doing Golly, she'd be able to levitate water by kind of like drawing it out and kind of.
Someone brought up, what about the Mask of Light healing scene?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go right now and say, Mask of Light, let's ignore that abomination as much as possible.
Yeah, let's get rid of let's get rid of that.
Wow.
I mean, like,
But guys, it's so nostalgic.
I mean, okay. The reason what I'm thinking is that like I don't know why Golly wouldn't be able to levitate water because it's a well in his
They
in his
all
thing
should
too.
have
Scorpion
that
Strike
capability.
mentions
Yeah,
that,
but
like,
I mean,
it's a
if
much
Golly
more
can levitate
malleable-
water, then Poatu of stone could levitate stone, though.
yeah.
Sure. I don't
So
know.
that
If
my
if
point
that
is
was
like
the
if you're
case,
gonna
I
say
don't
no
think,
to
like-
one Toa, you have to say no to all of them.
They're
If you say
saying-
no to if you say yes to one, you have to say yes to all.
Onua can levitate his. That's what you're saying, right? Because we're saying
then
that
what-
Onua can't.
What does our Toa of air do then?
Well, he
levitates
air, of course.
Well, I mean, the Toa of wind,
Well, he's wind. Yeah.
right?
It's all that current.
It's well, the thing is that air is much more available than water. It's the one thing that's more currently available than water. So he's able to access a lot of things, kind of.
Are they
innately.
being limited to the fact that they have to be surrounding their elements to actually use them?
No, I'm saying that like it's easier if you have to generate. It's more energy coming from within you, right? Like for instance, if you have to if Golly has to create water, like organically, then that I would say that takes way more elemental
Yeah.
energy than just taking the part from a lake and just throwing it somewhere. So the thing with Lewa is that he can generate air if he needs to, but because air is just generally always around him, he's able to use that a
He's
lot
super
more.
OP, which is natural
Nice.
for Liwa.
Okay,
So
gotcha. All right. Well, in that case,
What's the verdict here?
we are currently on Lightning Lightning Poatu.
I would
When we
say
had like the
Lightning
discussion
Kappa.
about Lightning Pahatu the other night, like I was like instantly down. My only concern, it would be criticized like in the hypothetical world where this became a reality. It's just a rip off of like the Flash, like the lightning dude who's super fast. He may not look the same,
mean-
but it's not exactly a unique idea.
Sure, you know how like
Now I
top-
suppose BIONICLE G3 isn't a unique idea, but I'm just saying like it's clearly something that like takes inspiration from another. form of
everything we
media.
have, people would say this is an Avatar ripoff too. People have been saying, certain people in this
People
call
have
have been
been,
saying
yeah. Oh, yeah,
it's an
so
Avatar ripoff. Everything like
elements.
you're right in that like sure it would have a lot of elements shared with Flash, but like at the same time,
As if Avatar created the concept of
I
having
know,
four
right?
elements.
at the same time, it's not like lightning has not been affiliated with speed people before. In mythology, lightning's been associated with speed. Like Mercury, the messenger god, the god of speed, had like a lightning bolt.
I mean, it depends. I think it really
true.
will come down to what Poatu's personality is, because G1 Poatu, personality-wise, is pretty similar to Barry Allen, I would
Right,
say. And if you
right.
make him Lightning Toa, then it's going to be
It does
even
fit
more
a lot
similar.
more. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was only the concept art that swayed me towards Lightning Kopaka from a visual standpoint.
It's funny because
Yeah,
I was
that-
on.
to be
I was
fair,
on
that-
better.
yeah.
I was on the
the
lightning Kopaka
environment
initially.
really like got me. Like the environment plus Kopaka juxtaposing that with the lightning element in the background, that looked good. That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
not
thi-
married to the idea, but
I think you can still
Either
create a
one.
distinct visual thing for the ice village without needing the lightning. I think we can come up with something that kind of ties that in. But I do think that like both Lightning Prohatu and the concept I proposed for what his village would look like are distinct enough that I feel we can make it work.
I know an easy way to settle this once and for all. If lightning Kopaka goes through, I would presume we would be changing Pohatu from stone since everybody hates stone. At which point, we should just go ahead and make him lightning and keep ice. Because, like, what the heck would we change him to?
Right, exactly.
There's
That's the
nothing.
thing. I'm not really thinking of any other element.
If everybody's
that
dead
is
set
visually
against,
distinct.
like, not keeping stone, there's nothing else to do unless we made him gravity.
I mean, there's always the let's just get rid of Pohatu in his
But we
entirety.
I don't like
argument.
5 characters. It's 4 or 6.
If we-
I agree with you.
I would-
In
I would
which
be-
case, get rid of Kopaka in his entirety.
I would no, actually I would agree with you. If we do 5, get rid of Pohatu, leave Kopaka. Because the whole thing
No one is in favor of 5 except
No
for
one's
you.
in favor.
exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. The thing about like Pohatu is that we have to get rid of one character. Pohatu is the one that just is the most redundant. The thing about Kopaka that you want to get rid of is that you felt his element was a little redundant, which I don't think. But if he was lightning, he wouldn't be redundant, and like the character is definitely not redundant. The character has a distinct place in the dichotomy of the team.
I kind of want to get rid of Kopaka just because we have a lot of people in this live studio audience that really likes him. And I just kind of want to throw like my personal like screw you to them.
Wow.
I really like Kopaka, man.
Kopaka
You
is
seem
cool.
to like you seem to like really want to make sure no one wants to watch the show. You're like, let's just do original characters. It's like, listen, I want to do
every single
you
one of
know-
your decisions is out of spite at this point.
Has there
Pretty
been
much.
any feedback on that like discussion? I know I've seen a few comments here and there about new characters.
Some people said that they might be interested in it. There's like 1 or 2 people. I think like the majority. My thing is not so much the idea of making new characters, because I would much rather we do some new characters in the thing. I just think that like
know,
as a
it's
whole,
about
the concept,
marketing.
as a concept and as everything, we lose the idea of the show, and
Nobody would
people would
listen
stop
to that
watching.
if it's original characters. Oh, TTV's doing a fan
Someone said
fiction.
Sonics and Lightning.
Sounds like a lot
Sonics.
of words that
similar
don't
to air.
actually mean anything.
You sound like a lot of words that don't actually mean anything.
Okay, Mr.
You guys are so
Avatar
mean
ripoff.
to each other. Whoa!
Listen,
Words that don't mean anything. I'll be on
Buckaroo,
time for the
you wanted
podcast.
4 elements, like every other element theme ever.
Well, that's because it's
Name
traditional.
2 of them.
To be fair, it's a very traditional like concept that's existed since the beginning of time. The 4 elements. That's like a very, very old mythological concept. It was not just like everything that comes takes from that element of mythology.
Pulling from the real world? Shh, Kahi, calm down. We can't do that. Inspiration's unoriginal. We can't do that,
Well,
Kahi.
I bet you want
It's
humans
stealing.
in BIONICLE next.
It's
Draw
stealing.
from the real world. Get humans up in here.
I was not
Obviously,
opposed to that. Still
TLDR
not
has
opposed to that.
influenced you. It's fine. We understand. We've accommodated for Ninjago fans before. Purple's a cast member.
Ninjago fans for life.
I do not actually know what point you're trying to get at.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Ninjago started out with
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, I think he's saying Ninjago has 4.
Yeah,
Ninjago has
it
way
doesn't
more
really
than
work
4.
out for-
It started
There was
out.
a little
He
turn.
says it started out with 4.
Started out.
Yeah.
Started out. There we go. Started out.
Okay.
Yeah, the elements don't really mean anything in Ninjago.
They don't.
They're stupid.
I-
They might as well drop them entirely.
Master of
honestly.
speed for life.
The
Master of Amber.
moment they introduced like the Green Ninja and his element was power, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The
where you're
elements
going
are
with this,
dumb.
but yeah,
I think I would actually prefer Ninjago if it had no elements at all.
I think that's what they're going for in the new movie. I think I'm not
Yeah,
sure, but
I don't
from
think
what
they're
it,
gonna have like.
yeah, it looks like they're
Yeah.
actually using like actual kung fu and like.
Honestly, it's such a crutch at this point. And it's just like, okay, what new true potential can we reach to increase their elemental powers that we
And
can
they're doing it
immediately
again
drop in the
with
next
Cole and
season?
his stupid glowing arms.
Yeah,
Cole's
it's so
Iron Fist
dumb.
now. Anyhow, so one thing
Sorry,
that we
Ninjago
actually,
fans. I'm a Ninjago fan too, but
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta admit your flaws.
one thing that someone suggested in the in the comments of YouTube. I'm trying to see if I can find this specific comment, but it's something that I saw mentioned other places as well. We actually really liked it. Is that the fact that the elements would be based around environments and kind of like coming from environments, which is actually something that I like a lot because
have we actually talked about this in the podcast?
We have not talked about this before. It was put in the
bring this up because
podcast.
I thought this idea was freaking stupid when I first read it. First of all, I just want to get that out there. When I initially saw this and read it, I was like, I hate this. And then I read it again, and I thought about it some more. Then I read it again, and I was like, you know what? I actually kind of like that idea. I'm just gonna take back. I'm gonna take back that. Oh, that's a really stupid comment.
Yeah, when you suggested it to you the first time I heard it, I'm like, what? No. And then I thought about it. I'm
It's so
like,
dumb.
Actually, you know what? That actually is
makes
not too
sense.
bad. I mean, in that case, like the one thing I do like about it, the whole elements being tied to the location, is one, it makes the island a bit more of a character, right? Because like then the locations in the island actually are really important because that means there might be a new element attached to it. Additionally, it also kind of defines what we are considering an element, in that regard, you know, and it like because we're kind of like worried about the restrictions about like you know what exactly defines an element. We were talking about the whole thing of ice, so. Let me see if I can find this quote. But
I'm having some difficulty finding it as well.
here we go.
Like,
S.W. Cronin, he said, like, this idea might be a little too different for some people, but what if the Toa powers are not defined based on element, but instead on climate/region? The distinction would be able to justify the elemental problem. Toa of Earth could be kind of like a Toa of the forest, even though you call it, the element is called Earth. You know, that environment and everything is kind of like the forest. So rather than ice, you have Toa of the tundra. You know, the ocean, the I would say so. Like I would say that like I do like the concept. I was thinking of it of like having like you know the Toa of ice, but also having another title that's like Toa of the blank. So you know, so even though they would still be Toa of ice,
the blank.
Toa of the tundra, Toa.
I like the idea of the village of the blank as well.
Village of the storm, for example, for Hatu's village.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Village
of the tundra.
That would be really cool.
Right,
Village of the
tundra.
forest. Yeah.
What about Liwa?
Village of the air.
Village of the sky.
Village
Could
of the
actually
wind.
work.
Yeah.
Sky. Actually, yeah, sky.
Village of the sky. I feel is like
Village of the
sounds
sky.
awesome, yeah.
Toa of the sky. That sounds really freaking cool.
Let's do it.
Let's
I'm
make
down.
it happen.
So
Why not?
let's
You know
go-
what? YOLO. Let's
Right.
do.
Let's
Someone write it down. I want to make concept art of all this.
Let's decide this once and for all. Who gets lightning?
Hatu.
Let's just do a vote. I'm at this point, for the sake of preserving this whole experience, as much as I like Lightning Kopaka, I'll say Pohatu gets lightning.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's on board with Pohatu.
Cool.
And in the live studio audience, everyone's voting Pohatu as well. So
Walk
someone says
site
Tahu
says-
gets lightning.
Why must one
Walkside
change?
says, "Why must
No.
one change?" I agree with you, buddy, but changes for
We're gonna
the
vote
best.
Stone out of spite. But I don't care either way. Pohatu's really good as lightning. That's a
Scorpion
good choice
Strike
for him.
says ... If it has to be included, yeah, Pohatu.
Sorry,
Alright.
Pohatu. Hope you like the change.
I mean, lightning's pretty cool. It's gonna be fun.
I think the
Right.
change is necessary.
I'm your
I think
Huckleberry.
change is
Give
necessary.
lightning the time.
With that said,
Change is
With
good.
that said, we can introduce.
With that said, if we're basing their elements not off elements themselves, but off the region that they come from, when you start calling Pohatu the Toa of the desert, living in the village of the desert, it starts to help when it comes to differentiating between him and Onua. Especially if Anua's the Toa of the Force.
There was a comment about that. They're like, if you start calling him Toa of the desert, then it's a lot better because you can then imagine like a bunch of people like wandering around in the desert, building like temples. A bunch of Matoran wearing like ponchos, some sort of rahi that they ride, and like it's a contrast, a nomadic desert tribe.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think it does help sell that stone thing a bit more. now.
I vote for Pohatu and Stone. So, and Kopaka with ice.
So just no lightning.
So here's the problem
Nope.
that we're gonna run into, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly we're all like, you know what, Stone can actually work. And then the last 3 podcasts that we've done have been worthless.
I still like Pohatu as lightning. If we really do want a stone village, I guess we can have the nomads
I
of
like-
the desert. Sure.
I really like the G1
don't mind
dichotomy between Pohatu being the toe of stone, wearing the mask of speed, because stones aren't really known for their cheetah-like reflexes.
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah,
that
okay.
time
Wait,
has
wait,
come
wait.
and
So
passed,
you're
I
like,
feel.
did you? So your reasoning is, I like this because it doesn't make sense.
It's subversion
Therefore-
of expectation.
Okay,
what it is.
This is a point I don't think we've ever thought about in this entire discussion, but Walksite just brought up a great point. Pohatu literally means stone.
Okay, no, I'm 100% in favor of Pohatu with stone. That reminds me, yeah,
Okay,
Kopaka
fine.
means ice.
Yeah,
Kopaka does mean
it
ice.
does mean ice.
That's the pitfall. That
That really is the
It's like that.
If we want to call them the same thing, it's gonna be kind of stupid.
Toa of the stone.
Let's not pretend
That's
that these names
hilarious,
kind of get
dude.
away from us.
There was a suggestion, I
hilarious.
forgot where it was, but somebody suggested replacing Pohatu with Variki.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
What?
Either made
No.
that
like,
suggestion.
I mean, like, you know,
Voriki. What does Voriki mean? Is that a real word?
I have no idea. I know it has a name. It has a meaning in the fandom, and that's all that matters, Meso.
Yeah, I'm really not feeling lightning as much as I was when I first came into this podcast.
For
nobody?
No, I'm
Foreshadowing.
100% in
You've invalidated the last half hour.
The naming thing really got me. It's a very profound
Really?
point.
Okay, you know
Yes!
what? Fine.
I mean,
The
like, you've
status
always
quo
known.
remains the same.
I didn't realize if
You know,
I'd known
it
this would have
takes,
like switched you on.
It takes
Kopaka, I
10
would've said
freaking
no.
years to persuade you of something. But then the stupidest little thing
Yeah, it's
comes
like,
up and
really
you're like,
that-
Maybe,
okay,
I mean, I
maybe
agree.
you guys
It's kind
just aren't really good at persuading anybody. Your
Or
arguments
it's
just
kind
kind
of
of
a big
blow,
suck.
unlike our
You're
fans, which are
stubborn.
clearly more intelligent than you.
It's kind of a big thing, the meaning of a word, but I mean,
So-
that's what.
Yeah,
Lego
it kind of
they
is.
Did this.
When you have a character who's literally named after his element and you change the element, it takes away the meaning of the name
Okay, Yola, let's
and
do
the
it.
meaning of the character.
Ice and stone remain.
What?
We'll introduce the mythical Toa of Lightning
But
later
yeah,
on.
the
It'll be
problem
Voriki.
is, like, now that I'm thinking about the whole region thing, I also don't have that much of a problem with it, which like just it frustrates me so much. It frustrates me. It's like
Alright, somebody,
Oh, guys.
somebody take
It
that.
wasn't me.
There you go.
I didn't say anything though. I was saying frustrate.
I know you were. That is what you were saying. That's correct.
Live studio audience,
I
you all
said-
heard.
Listen, I said frustrate, and I was like, I started to say frustrate instead.
I know that is what you did. Okay.
Remember to
Here's
become
what we'll
a
do.
Patreon.
I
have a compromise.
I actually misspoke this time. It wasn't even a
I
thing.
know.
Oh,
I
my
have a
goodness.
compromise.
Alright,
Let's-
so we spent the
Let's
last
keep Kopaka and Pohatu as they are, but let's introduce not the mythical Toa of Light later on, but Voriki, the Toa of Lightning, who lives in the village of the storm.
Dude, people are gonna be so
Underneath.
frustrated when they listen to this.
Frustrated.
Because, like, I understand, and I do agree, Ice and Stone both have, like, valid points. I don't want to waste the concept of lightning solely because I wrote it off at first. Because I was like, I don't want to rip off Ninjago, but then there were cool ways to, like, make it distinct and different and fresh and fun. And I don't want to, like, waste that.
Is 7 Toa.
Yeah, basically. That way we can still kind of keep that
Variki,
without falling
Tequila.
into cliches of, like, light v shadow.
I mean,
Wait,
alright,
what?
to be fair, now I mean, again, now that we're thinking about what could happen with the regions and stuff, that doesn't make it too far fetched. We could have these Toa kind of go around. We could
Yeah,
have other
that's
villages.
the thing. The region thing. Honestly, Kai, the second you I don't know if you heard me. I said, "Oh no!" The second you started talking
Yeah.
about the region thing, because I realized at that moment that I was going to be in favor of Stone.
Yeah, no, I mean, like
Kopaka, Toa of the Tundra, and
the
Pohatu,
thing
Toa
that got
of the
me is
desert.
that as I was describing it, I also like thought of a really cool thing with the desert village. Which was like so you have like the same thing kind of is in Ta-Koro. It's like a desert, it's a sand and everything, but there's also these giant kind of like crystals that are like embedded in the thing, and they glow, right? They're glowing in the same way that they were in G2. They're glowing at
Almost
night.
like light stones.
Yeah, like giant light stones in the desert that they
would look
form
cool.
their villages around.
Huh. Almost
So
like a
at night,
beacon.
right? Kind of.
Okay.
So that
Some concept
I feel
art of
that
this.
makes it more visually distinct than like the just a desert
flat
What,
desert
desert
village,
plain.
Is
right?
this like a Toe of Light?
No, this
No.
would be the crystals with
It's basically giant light stone,
Oh,
but it keeps that crystal element.
I see.
Kopaka, Toa of the tundra, and Pahatu, Toa of the desert. That is what we
yes,
gleaned.
kind of like the G2 Earth region concept art actually.
So-
Scorpion Strike
G2
mentions
Earth
that.
region was cool.
Let me get this
Apparently,
straight.
Tahu is the Maori word for husband.
Well, okay, so let's ship
Toa marriage.
Tahoe X
Toa
Golly.
marriage.
Toa monogamy.
What the heck?
What does golly mean?
Okay, so here's something else.
Good.
So okay, let's final thing. Are we
Husband versus good.
after all of this, after ages and ages of discussion, are we just sticking with the exactly
Yeah.
what we came up before?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
redefining Earth.
Well, no,
We
not
basically-
exactly the same. The two differences that we can take from all this rigmarole of like two podcasts is
Earth is different now.
Earth is different.
Earth is
and
different.
Air is wind.
Air is wind.
Air is
Lightning is
wind.
also a thing. Do we want to? Okay, so
I do want to use lightning at some point.
is everyone on board with the village being the source of the elements, that kind of thing, like that kind of
Yes.
location,
Yeah.
locale?
Maybe not village, but the
not village.
region,
Sorry,
yes.
the region.
Region
yeah.
being the source of their power.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Charges them up.
For
Yeah.
Awesome.
for the moment, I am. However, I feel I know where this is going to go next week, so I'm going to be a little hesitant.
Well,
Where's it
okay.
going?
In
Tell
what
me, I'm
way?
curious.
Based on something Kahi pitched over the week that you guys weren't made aware of yet.
Oh, this.
Got it. In that case, I will build suspense. For
No,
next week.
I want to talk about it now.
No. I think this is a great way. After we just ruined the last 3 episodes.
No, that was hilarious, dude. I love that.
No, I think that's great.
I feel this kind of stuff probably happens at Lego.
That's the
know?
whole point of this show is to see like how hard is it to do what Lego does, right? What was the whole? And they probably did have this discussion going in G2 when it comes to redesigning the elements, and we never got to see it. And so for you guys,
Yeah.
you kind of get to see this whole thing where it's like, oh, guys, you went this
They
entire
were probably
way
like,
around.
for G2, we're going to bring Bionicle back. Let's do something cool and different with it. And they got a bunch of concepts, and then they were like, yeah, maybe we should just do what we did before.
I'm so glad
Like,
I was
just roll it
consistent throughout all this.
You know what's amazing is that this episode could not have happened without the studio audience.
Honestly,
That's
yes. If
That
ever there
conclusion
was
would not have happened
bigger
the way it did.
incentive for you guys becoming a patron, and joining us for our live studio audience, if we could ever like get Discord working for like a lot of people, it's out of our hands. File a Patreon support ticket, by the way, if you're still having Discord troubles. We
we
understand.
literally
but,
tried
like,
everything we could.
it's
Credit to Play
service.
with Fire _
It's really great having you guys here giving feedback because it's an objective perspective. We're so caught up like talking, it helps being able to see like live feedback. So
Yeah.
we really do appreciate it.
Princess says, join the live studio audience, and you too can destroy 3 podcasts worth of work.
I love it. So-
That's great.
That's basically what it is. So to summarize, we have Tahu, Toa of Volcano, ? Liwa, Toa of the Sky, Onua, Toa of the Forest, Kopaka, Toa of the Tundra, Gali, Toa of the Ocean, and Pahatu, Toa of the Desert. And then their elements there.
And then, of course, the elements are also referenced. We're not replacing the name of the elephants. We're
Of course, it's just
Ele-
like for
elephants?
visualizing.
They're placing the names.
replacing
Well,
the
elephants.
yeah, exactly. That's what the elemental creature should be. Just giant elephants, just kind of
I'm
lumbering
down.
in the
The element
no,
elephant.
the
And then our
element
secret
elephants.
trump card that we're gonna bring in either the 3rd year or the 4th year if it gets renewed. Voriki, Toa of the Storm.
Oh,
Is there a Clinton card?
Okay,
Wow.
come on, get out of here. Leave.
All right,
Your flip-floppy
So-
opinion's no longer wanted.
listen.
Oh, please.
Feedback.
Get out of here.
supporters. All right. So thank you all very much for listening to this intriguing episode of the TTV podcast. To recap, go check out Vin's Mask Shop.
Yeah.
Go, Vin, I hope you keep enjoying the Switch. And continue to leave some feedback for our element discussion on the TTV message boards or in the comments of this video. Just because of like what we decided this week, we're always open to feedback. We want to hear if you guys have some thoughts that we might not have thought of. Pass them along. Doesn't matter if you think we've already made up our minds or not. We still want to hear. And as well, continue the discussion about like, even though I don't think we're going to do this, if you have feedback about making new characters and whatever, just keep that coming.
Yeah, one of the
because-
things I would say now, because we did have a lot of element pulls in the actual topic, we are going to accept I would say for right now, our decision is basically canon at this point. What we decided with all this stuff is going to be kind of set in stone. So you guys can still discuss about different elements how it ties to regions and different concepts for those regions. I think that is perfectly valid and would be really cool. However, if you are going to continue discussion about should the Toa be different elements or that kind of thing, we're probably going to curb that for now.
This is going to make a couple
of
of topics upset.
Right. Well, I mean, you can still discuss other elements and the villages for those elements, or the locale example for those elements. But otherwise, I would say that this decision is mostly final. And it's odd too that after everything, I can't believe it. We're going back. We're going back to the OG.
It's hilarious, dude.
G1. But
I
now
got
you
what
have
I want.
Only we had just read that guy's comment 2 episodes ago.
I know, right?
What do you?
No,
what do
he
you guys
commented on the
think,
last episode, so it was 4 days ago. We
There
couldn't
is
have.
literally no
What do
way
you-
to prevent this.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? You think next week we should finally return to how this all started and tackle personality of these characters?
I do have. Listen, I have.
I kind of want to start building the world a little bit. But
That's what I
Alright.
want to as well, and so next week will be really, man. boy.
World building.
like, there's already some ideas that we've thrown out that haven't been on recording yet. that
The
I
good
feel like
old
could work.
trigger word for a lot of people, world building. It's important, guys.
I
We
want to
gotta
have
do
a
it.
discussion right now, though. Me and LJ had a thing with discussion beforehand. I think it has a. All right, well,
Next
you guys have-
week.
There's even some ideas that we've heard from fans that I think we want to bring in too.
So post all your world building stuff in the Brickonicle forum, board.tvpodcast.com. Do it.
Indeed, and thank you all very much for following along with this ongoing project. Before we end today, I would like to give a shout out to every week we like to take a look at our patrons who go and subscribe at patreon.com/TTV channel and help make this all possible. Give a shout out to one of them. This week's shout out will be patron Boulder, but the catch is that the second boulder has a U. Get it? The boulder. It's pretty great.
Boulder doesn't find your comment
Real
very
funny guy.
Boulder for life. Anyway, thank you, Boulder, and all of the patrons for helping make this possible. It's a great name. And thank you all. We'll see you next week.
And remember, if you're a Patreon patron and you've signed up for the perk that allows you to join the live studio audience on Discord, and you aren't getting it to work, you're going to have to contact Patreon support.
Yeah, we
Quite
tried
well,
doing
well.
some stuff manually, and it's just not working on our end. So you will need to make sure patron support is able to link you with your account.
Right.
That's the response we
Definitely.
got back.
For now, thank you, everybody. We will see you all next week. I'm Messa.
I'm Broderan.
I'm LJ.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
I'm Sex Trooper. Thanks, Messa.
I'm legit amazed that you're still there. How you doing, X?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually
It's
kind
been
of like.
no, it's been a ride, dude. Like I just
Alright.
Did you have any? Yeah, never mind.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.